after thing after thing. The things I've got going on here just churn out thing after thing.
What's happening, YouTube people? DeadDuck here with this extra special Guardian farming video. Today I'm going to show you how to build this monster of a Guardian farm. The thing that makes this thing so amazing is that you don't need to clear much water at all. You need to clear about 5 levels of water. You don't need to take down any of the ocean monument, and the resource list for this thing is relatively small comparing to what Guardian farms always have been. So without further ado, I'm going to show you exactly how to build this thing. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is find yourself an ocean monument and create this little grid pattern here. This is where our guardians are going to be spawning. And if you don't know how to do this grid and mark out the spawning base already, then go and check out my last video on guardian farming, which I will leave down in the description. So go and check out that video and then pop back over here once you have done that. Okay, so once you have plotted out all of your spawning bays, what you need to do is build down a layer of 4 glass or whatever you want to use just here so that we can drain this little section of water out here. It will take a little bit of time, but obviously you don't need to be draining out the entire thing this time, so it will be a lot quicker than the last guarding farm that I did. Just because we are on creative, I'm going to do this thing with sponges, and I'm just going to drag in a line of sponges like this, and I'm just going to keep doing that until this thing is drained. Obviously on survival it will be a little bit more difficult, and you'll actually have to use some dirt blocks and bits and pieces to make little grids while you drain this thing out. But you know, draining is draining. What can you do? Right, so once you've got this little bit drained out, what you can do now is just remove all of this stuff because you don't really need it anymore. This little bit of guardian monument that's kind of poking through the water here, just get rid of all of these blocks, and we can get rid of this grid completely now. We only need to leave in the sea lanterns just because that is where our spawns are going to happen. Okay, so the hard part is now done. Honestly, that is the bit that takes the time. That is the bit that is really boring, draining things out, marking things out. But once you've got it to this point, we can start constructing these little bays here. So what you're going to want for this is some magma cube. Just grab some magma cube here, and what we want to do is just put these on all 4 horizontal faces of each of these spawning blocks, just like this. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is take your fence gates and just start putting these on top of all the magma cubes like this. Just do it in lines, it's much easier. If you do it on survival, you can build yourself little dirt bridges between each one of these just while you're constructing it. That should make life a little bit easier for you guys. But just keep chucking these fence gates in there like that. We eventually want them on all 4 magma cubes. Once you have all of your fence gates in, you need to open all of these things up, and my OCD tells me to open them all the same way, so it's easier just to do it from the center here like this, and just do it like that. So when all of your bays are built and all of your fence gates are open, you can just take your buckets of water and just pop one on each of these sea lanterns on the top here, like so. Just do that all the way around this thing and get all of your bays plumbed in. Once you have all of your bays in, you should have something that looks a little bit like this, and we can test it now by just taking this thing off of peaceful. Let's put it on hard just to make sure that these bays are spawning guardians and they are dying immediately. Yes, there we go. That is exactly what we want to be seeing here. And these bays are pretty much done. So the next thing we want to do is obviously take this thing back off of hard and put it onto peaceful. And we want to be building our little train track system underneath all of these bays that's going to collect all of our drops and spit them up into our water streams. So the way I do that is just by taking some redstone blocks and just put them on the bottom of all of these sea lanterns. You can just use torches, so you could just put a block there and put a torch on top of it if you want to, but it's just nicer, neater and quicker on creative just to use little redstone blocks like this and just chuck them all the way around underneath all of these spawning bays. Okay, so once all your redstone blocks are in place, what you want to do is take your block of choice and just build yourself a little bit of a square at the bottom of all of these spawning bays, just so we have a place to put our track system at the bottom here. And again, just do that all around this place and just do all of the bays like this. Okay, so once you're done with that, you should have something that looks a little bit like this, and we should now be ready to start plumbing this thing in to our dispensing systems. And the way we are going to do that is to pick a direction that you want this farm to run in. It's literally going to run in one direction. I'm literally going to run it from this direction to this direction here. So that's basically just in line with the entranceway to the monument, as you can see if I pop down here like that. So we are going to line it up facing the entrance, or running in the same direction as the entrance is, just so that we know what we're doing so we don't get confused. So what we want to be doing is coming to one of our rail blocks here, or one of our base blocks, whatever you want to call it, and just break out this corner here. What you then want to do is grab your hoppers and a dropper, and you want to put a dropper facing upwards right there. So what we end up having is 2 block gaps from here to the dispenser, like that. And you're just going to take your hoppers now and just connect them right up like that. I'm just going to do one more to show you. I just chuck one there, break those 2 blocks, and just take your hoppers and just face them into each other like that. And what you want to be doing is you want to do that to every single one of these. So I'm going to cut back with you guys when I've done that. One more thing just to note, once you get to the other side of your farm here, you will notice that you will not have enough room to get your dropper in. All you need to really do is just break that piece of glass to get your dropper in, and we will be removing this wall later on anyway, so it's not such a big deal. So just break that piece of glass out, put your dropper in there like that, and just chuck your hoppers straight into the back of it, and we'll come back to this wall in a little while. Okay, so the next thing we are going to want to do is self-power all of these droppers, and the way we do that is take ourselves a random block of choice. You want to put one like that, then you want to take an actual solid block and put that there like that with a comparator facing out of the dropper and into this block here. Then you want to take some floor blocks and you just want to make 2 lines of flooring right there like that. You want to take a repeater coming out of the solid block and straight into the dropper, and then just connect them all together with some redstone, and then anything that ends up in that hopper is just going to get automatically spat out like that. So you're just going to want to repeat that on every single one of these bays, and yes, that is quite a lot of work. Okay, so before we go too much further, let's just get this wall out of the way. So we need to extend this out by a few blocks, and 3 blocks in total. So we want to go 1, 2, and 3. So this is how far we need to extend this back wall out here like that. And we will have to drain this little area out. I should have probably mentioned that at the beginning, but I kind of work in a sequence, and it kind of escaped my attention. So we only really need to go as far as here, so it doesn't need to be any lower than that, just so it stops the water from interfering with any of the redstone, anything like that. So just take that wall out and just extend it like that. Right, so once you have this second little wall up here, you can kind of get rid of this one because we don't need it anymore and it's kind of just getting in our way. So sorry I didn't mention this earlier, but it did escape my attention. Right, so we should now be at this point where we have all of our spawning bays in and the delivery system for all of the drops in place as well. Well done for getting to this point, because this takes quite a long time, especially on survival. But the next thing that we ought to be doing is taking our track and just take our regular rail and just put it on all 4 corners, and then we want our powered rails in the middle to tie it all together like this to make ourselves a little loop here. So we want to do that again on every single one of these bays like this, and once we're done we should have everything we need to spawn the guardians, kill the guardians, and start off the transportation of their drops. I should just mention that it's important that you make sure that these tracks are going over the corners of these hoppers here like that. I don't know if that was obvious or not, but I just thought I would mention. Okay, so once we have all of our spawning bays in place and our dropper systems all ready to go, the next thing we want to do is grab some soul sand and just chuck them on the top of every single one of these droppers like this. And now it's time to start counting out our water slides that's going to deliver all of our drops to wherever we want it to go. And the way we do that is we want to start from the front of the farm, which is where all of your redstone bits and pieces are facing, where all of your droppers are facing, and come to the very edge here. And what you want to do is just count 8 from this soul sand. So what you want to do is you want to put your 4 blocks around here like that and go up 8 in total. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And just do that on every single one of these front-facing spawning bays. So we want to carry on with all of this front line here, just doing the same thing. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then we just bring the rest up to the same level. Right, so what we want to do now is we want to make our slides in the other direction in order to take all of the drops from all of these lines straight to the front here. And the way we're going to do that is you just want to take your blocks and start bringing them over here and make sure you're 1 out from the end of this farm. So we want to be there. So add 3 blocks to the front of these like this. 1, 2, 3. So you end up with 4 in total. And then what you want to do is just chuck 2 off the back like that. So you end up with 3 here and 4 here. So you end up with 8 in total. So let's just do that on all of these. The next thing we want to do is just go down 1 from here and then out to the front of your farm by 1. Just extend that to the left and put 1 block here. Because what we're going to do is make these into slides. So we're going to count 7 blocks from this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So we're going to do this to the other side now as well. So you just want to count 1 down and 1 out like that. You want to put your wall up here like that and then just count 7 again. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now what we want to do is 3 of these on either side in total. So that's 1. This will be the second one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Do it again on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. You're going to be counting 7 a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And you'll have something that looks like this, and then you just kind of want to join these together like this. There you go. So the next thing we want to do is put some walls up around here. So we're going to do something like this. Just so that we have walls up on all of the sides of this so that our water doesn't escape and go everywhere. Just want to do this all the way along and on both sides. And you will end up with something a little bit like that. And now we just want to take our water buckets here and just put 1 on this side here. And 1 on the other side here, like that. And what you should see is this water will meet in the middle across 2 blocks. And there we go. So these are the 2 blocks. It exactly meets in this line here. Right along this line, those 2 blocks meet. So you can just take those right out there. Grab yourself some hoppers. Just going to chuck a block there like that. Any old block just to placehold it. A hopper into the top of that block that we just used for a placeholder. And then just take your other hopper and just run it into the side of that one, just so that we have a 1 block wide output, and you can lead that directly into a sorting system or a chest system, whatever you want to do, just so long as they're kind of linked up so you don't have 2 different sets of drops coming through. And that is pretty much your collection line. So all we have to do now is just take these lines all the way back. So we have here 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 including this hole, 6, 7, and 8. And we just want to add 1 more to the back and go 7 this time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then just keep going up, doing lines of 7 all the way to the back of the farm. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Should need one more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And that is pretty much all you need. You just need to chuck some sides up on this thing now and rinse and repeat across this entire length of the farm. Right, so all you got to do is just do the same all the way along. So let's just get that done and I will cut right back with you guys once it is done. Right, so once you have got all of these slides up and all of the walls in place, you can just kind of link all of these dropper lines up to the slides like this, all the way up, and just get them all kind of plumbed in here like this. Okay, so once you have all of these slides finally in, you can just add your water to the top of them here, and it should run all the way down to the bottom and kind of join up with our output system that we just did at the bottom. Let's just double check that it's all going to flow nicely. It should do. Looking good. Okay, we have a hole here. Just block that up. We have holes on all of these because I obviously just put holes there. So this is what I was talking about. Just make sure these floor bits are all filled in here so the water runs all the way to the bottom. And once it has run all the way to the bottom, you can take them all away. You can just take those bits of floor out right over the top of this dropper system here, and it should be absolutely fine after that. And once you have done that, you are pretty much done. Just check that all of your bubble columns are making their way to the surface here, otherwise you'll have drops flowing down the tube, and you do not want that. But it looks like it's all working fine, so all we need to do now is add some carts to this little minecart system here, and we are done. So let's just add some carts in here. Right, hopper minecarts. You just want to chuck some hopper minecarts down the sides of all of here like this. Just chuck them on your tracks. Now all we got to do is get these things going. Just give them a nudge. Bit of a nudge. It doesn't really matter in what way they turn. My OCD tells me that they should all be turning the same way. But never mind. Let's just get them going and get this thing working. And now all of our minecarts are going. We can chuck this thing on hard and make sure it's all working nicely. And immediately we should start to see guardians spawning. Yep, there they go. Let's just keep an eye on this guy. So he should die. Drop his drops on those magma cubes. Eventually. And it should go straight up that stream there. Oh no. And exactly what's happened here is we've missed a little piece of glass off the back here, meaning that it's in an infinite little cycle now. So just add that piece of glass on the back, and there we go. It should go up the tube. Just make sure, yep, that these little bits of soul sand have solid blocks either side of them on all faces, and you should be good to go. Okay, so that is this farm all done and dusted, and it's working absolutely perfectly. And as you can see, all of the drops are making their way down these slides and straight into our system here. These hoppers are probably backed up already, not quite, but they're getting there. And that is pretty much it. If you guys like this video, please give it a like on the way out, and subscribe if you haven't already, because it helps us out a big old bunch. And I will see you guys in the next video. DeadDuck out. Cheers.